You got some news there, Mayhem?
Do have some news with some video accompaniment. First off, the California high school principal placed on leave after video surfaces of inappropriate dance with the mascot. I mean, we can just roll right into this unless you want to hear some more, because
the mascot was twerking with him. He was on the...
Yeah.
Oh, he's getting kind of a lap dance, I guess.
Sorta, yeah. From a Viking, a little twerk there.
Yeah.
And he kind of, he shoots a jizz cannon. I don't know exactly what to call that.
Jizz cannon was my gay porn name, but he's having fun.
I know, yeah. But he's on leave right now, I guess administrative leave, until they investigate this fully and get some more clips from TikTok.
I like that he's wearing the number 86. He just got 86 from his job.
Yeah. I don't know. If the crowd's cheering, you've done your job. He's pushing a guy out on a desk chair.
Yeah.
This is zero burger material.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like outrage machine goes into full force.
Yeah, I don't know. Also, the administrative leave with pay is really...
vacation.
It was a vacation. Yeah. It's a vacation. You like stay home for 4 days and get paid.
You're suspended from school. Awesome. Well, that's not the reaction.
The interesting thing about this article is that it ends with like comments just that random people made. So, going into that outrage machine sort of thing, like when a principal is every student's best friend, the school is lost, one person commented. It's like, this is what journalism is now.
I do feel there's an issue. Like, I don't like it when dads try to be their son's best friend. Like, I like some roles. You know what I mean? And I think there is kind of a weird issue in that there's a little bit of a breakdown of hierarchy. Like, there kind of needs to be generals and colonels and privates, and we need that. So when everyone is just kind of wearing shorts and flip-flops and calling everyone by their first name, you see stuff now that we never formally saw when we were like in grade school, like students yelling, "You're not the boss of me, get away from me, I'll sue your ass," or whatever, like just dumping water buckets on cops and stuff, like pushing cops. And like you see the guys, they're protesting in front of the DNC, and the cops are like walking by like, fuck you, pig. Like, you would just get shot or hit with a baton, like a spray. They didn't have pepper spray, but like, we've never in a million years dream of getting in a cop's face and yelling fuck you as loud as we could. And we're kind of there now. So there's been a little bit of a breakdown. Now, I'm not for the teacher, the principal with the Board of Education paddling everybody or smacking them with the ruler or whatever, but I do like the separation. Like, I do like this guy's the boss, you should listen to him, or that guy's the principal, you should be scared. A little bit. It's
sort of like... the Untouchables has been on, and every time I watch it, it always strikes me that a part of me is always thinking Elliot Ness and Connery and the gang are trying to stop people from getting booze, and I morally or ethically or whatever or lifestyle-wise, I want the booze. So they're fighting, but it's the law. And the law says that you can't do it, and illegality and all of that, and it comes around to, because it's the law. What are you going to do if they lift the ban on booze? I'm going to have a drink, says Elliot Ness, is the last line of the movie. I am one of these people nowadays. Maybe it's laziness. Because I said so is the answer now. For me like that, because if you indulge more than that, I feel like you're opening it up to making everything debatable. Let's get your point of view.
Yes,
there has to be. You have to have the shortcut of. You're doing that, but why? But I'm done there. No.
Yes,
I told you to do it, and that's
I agree.
It.
And you should. We don't. These people hate this, but you should fear or have some fear of cops. You should have some fear of principals. You should have some fear of your dad. You should have some fear of your coach. You should have some fear that sort of keeps you in your lane about all of these people, and that's completely out the window now.
But you also know that the reality in which we reside now exists the challenge, and I'm not saying this is owed to big time sports, but who's more important to teams? The star of the team can go to ownership and say, I want the coach, even though he's nominally higher up than I am.
Right.
I want him fired, and they'll sometimes do it. I think that's the threat of, if you do that to me, there's actions that I formerly would never have considered taking against you. So they're playing scared. A principal like that probably is playing a little scared.
So we think the principal should be fired? Or
No.
Based on that, what I saw, no.
No, but I was really clearly I remember super clearly going to my daughter's class when she was, I don't know, the second grade or third, maybe the second or third grade. And of course the teacher's, 26-year-old chick, no stud, go-go boots, like weirdly not dressed like Mrs. Harvey or Mrs. Sontag or my teachers had like beehive hairdos and brooches and were wearing like 3 sweaters and 2 skirts, one longer than the next. And she was looking like go-go dancer and she had her Starbucks on her desk with the big dome because she just ordered the big frappa, whatever, with all the whipped cream in it and stuff. And they had her first name scrawled in Sharpie on it from the Starbucks. And she had it turned to the class, and I kind of walked up and I was like, I should probably turn that thing around so everyone doesn't start calling. They call me by my first name. I was like, oh. I know you think that's progress. I don't think it is. I want them to call you Mrs. Something.
That. I really am. I'm not old school I guess I am old school in a lot of ways, but that is a big one for me. I am Mr. this or that. Calling your elders Angie is weird.
Yes. Yeah. How'd you know that was no. All right. What else you got, Mayhem?
Well, what is a fart walk and can it improve your health? Yeah. Wellness influencer and professional home economist Marilyn Smith has coined the term fart walk for after-dinner stroll. I know. It gets the thing.
You're not allowed to take 2 words that have existed for 7,000 years and just put them together and go, I coined the phrase. I coined the phrase bread salt. How do you like that?
Well, look,
copywritten.
This fart walk can help regulate blood sugar, and walking is beneficial
and raise money for childhood disease.
Yeah, flatulent after-dinner stroll can help limit your risk of type 2 diabetes and help regulate your blood sugar.
They want you to take a walk after dinner. They always go, you should eat, and then you should take that walk. But when I eat, I want to sit down. Like when you want me to take a nap, fill me up, and all I want to do is stretch out. That's my move. I'm better before the meal, but I think the plan is eat and then take the walk.
You know why that's crazy? Is because you can find this available, I'm sure, 20-ish years ago. The American Heart Association said the old thing of let's go walk off dinner is what you should not do because it strains your heart unnecessarily. And men of a certain age were having heart problems because they were doing exactly that. Really? Walking it off at 6 o'clock at night, stuffed, and you're putting undue strain on your heart. So same, I guess, thing is don't go swimming after, for 15 minutes after you eat. I don't know if that's related, but that's in fact true. So battling diseases, diabetes or heart disease, you choose. Which do you want?
Eat and then take a walk. It's probably best. And like I said, get that weighted vest. I got that weighted vest. It's good. It makes the walk into something.
Yeah, they say that,
I think we're fucking pretty lazy now because I don't remember anyone talking about walking when I was a kid. Walking is what poor people did. There was no form of exercise that was ever attached to walking. Now, couples in love would go for a stroll, but that wasn't for exercise. That was for a stroll. That was sort of a romantic, a walk in the moon, under the moon, the moonlight walk. That was a stroll. And then there are poor people that had to walk, 3 miles to school and back every day because they didn't have in rural Mississippi, son of a sharecropper or whatever. Walking was never discussed as a form of exercise until we got so fat and lazy we had to actually, it's sort of like, remember when Reagan started counting ketchup as a vegetable? We're doing that with walking and exercise.
That is exactly right.
I have healthy 40-year-old guys going, I got my steps in today. It's like, how many steps? My phone told me I took 10,000 steps. That's just you walking around, sometimes to go get food. And then walk back.
I know, yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, listen, I'm not against walking. I'm just saying the fact that we're counting it as exercise means we've jumped the shark in the lazy department.
Underrated weirdo / actually lazy person claiming that they're working out is the hiker. I think this is a weird activity to desire it. And people not only do it for fitness, they look forward to hiking. No, thank you. Go walk up a hill? Why? That sounds miserable. Fun.
I think you got a hiking story. Was there a lost hiker in there somewhere?
No lost hiker today. Got a
Put one in there, though. Throw one in.
I mean, got
there's one in there somewhere.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Look again.
There is.
Jay Leno lost hiker.
There we go. Sorry.
You want to jump to Leno
in there? I do, because we're talking about hiking, and I talked to Leno yesterday. So
all right, I'll jump right straight ahead.
Yeah.
I also got a crazy story about a hacker that faked his death. But California rescue team finds hiker missing for 30 hours after bumping into Jay Leno during the search. Yeah, California search and rescue team found an elderly hiker had been missing for 30 hours and happened to run into TV legend Jay Leno along the way. Ki Su Yang, a very fit and experienced, prepared 78-year-old hiker, was reported missing on Saturday and got separated from his group while climbing Mount Waterman in Los Angeles County.
Nothing good ever happens on a hike. You either get lost or you encounter a mountain lion or your best girl breaks up with you.
Like a dead body.
You come across a dead body. Nothing good happens, or a serial killer's on the loose. Nothing good. I mean, the best case scenario is you come back in one piece, but that's not a great outcome.
You're asking for it, in other words.
Yes. Anyone that gets murdered on a hike should immediately be downgraded to manslaughter because you're kind of asking for it when you're hiking.
I didn't tell you to go walk up that mountain of dirt.
Yeah,
they
could fall off the cliff. They could get lost. They could be eaten by a mountain lion.
You removed yourself from civilization and put yourself out in the dirt. Not me.
You could run into Jay Leno. There's a lot that could go wrong.
Yeah.
I talked to Leno yesterday. He gave me a power player answer. I said, Jay, I need a piece for a car made, a door handle for a 67 Lamborghini 400 GT. Now, it's a long story, but I sold a Lamborghini to attorney Mark Garagos that is not the same model, but it has the same door handle. So I took, without asking Mark's permission, because he left the car here, I took the handle off it. And I sent it to a guy to do like a 3D scan. You have to literally have a CNC machine make it or forge it or make a mold of it. It's like a door handle from an old car, but they don't exist, and I have to have one made. So anyway, Mark at some point wanted his door handle back. So I had to get the door handle back, but I never scanned it or 3D printed it or CNC'd it. I didn't do anything with it. But now I got the door handle and I got to give it back, but I need it to make this mold or to do a 3D print of it. So I called Leno and I said, do you guys have someone you use to do like a 3D print and a thing of a thing? And he's like, well, and I heard him yell at the mountaineers to hold back off for a second. Had the ace man on the phone. And he said, I said, can you recommend somebody where I can take this handle and get a 3D rendering of it and then like a CNC, whatever? And he gave the power move. He goes, yeah, I got a recommendation. Me. And I was like, oh, that's a good move. That's a power move right there. So I said, so I can just bring it by your shop and you'll make a 3D model. You ever see those things? They're printing houses
I don't understand it, but I'm fascinated by it and the potential of it.
Yeah, well, what they can do is they can scan a little. They can scan whatever you got. Then they use plastic beads to like physically make exactly what it is. And then you could have that and use it as a mold and make it out of metal or something like that. And then put it in a CNC machine and it would make it out of a piece of billet aluminum or something like that. The houses are kind of crazy now. They 3D print houses now, which is just, you go, what are they talking about? What are they talking about? What a 3D printed house is if you see a cement trucks have pumpers, what they call. That's a separate guy. So if you were putting on a big patio in your backyard, the cement truck would pull up to the front, the pumper guy would pull up behind it, and then the chute for the cement truck would just go into the pumper. The pumper guy would have hoses going all the way to the backyard, and he'd be sort of like a swimming pool. When they do a swimming pool, they do it with gunite. They got a rig, and they spray it. They build the cage, and they spray it. In the 3D printed houses, they have a rig, like a big arm that's hooked into the computer, and they keep pumping cement into it, and it just literally keeps following the outline of all the walls, and each time it goes up like 7/8 of an inch, and it just keeps building and building and building. And they say, and there's an inner and an outer, and then the inside is hollow, and you could run your wiring or your plumbing, electrical, what have you there. It'll even do cutouts for windows and doors and things like that when it gets to the right height. Then they put a piece of wood across it, and then it doesn't go over the top of it or something. But they can print out a house in days. Now it's kind of interesting stuff, but either way. All right, so Leno,
I live in one of those. I intend to. Those modular kind of houses that look really like you're opening like a fold out kids book. It's really. Have you seen
modulars
those? When they pop those things open and they like flip a couple things like, oh, it's a standing house.
Yeah. Modular. We're looking at a 3D printed house.
They reinvented Adobe essentially. Yeah. Where you just layer by layer slap it on there. It's pretty awesome that they're doing that. It'll change the technology.
We don't celebrate.
Keep coming.
We don't celebrate enough how you make a bridge over a body of water.
No.
The Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
How do they get? And people have explained to me. They pour the cement down in. But how does it not? How does it solidify and prop? It is so fascinating to me. Obviously, the pyramids are probably more remarkable given the lack of technology when those were built. But still, what in the hell? Who figured out how you would be able to get giant things that could support? I don't know how many millions of weight it would need to support. How do they get those things to dry up in the water?
There is something called like aqua cement or something now that they probably would use if they were doing that. The craziest thing are deep water oil derricks. Like how do they? Right. That's crazy. But now in the Golden Gate Bridge, Brooklyn Bridge, and that kind of bridge era, and Joe can look this up, I believe the way they did that is they put a box like the I think
to keep the ocean away, right?
Right. They build a box and then they drain the water out of the box. And then a whole bunch of brave men and women, just kidding about the women part, they didn't do shit. But a bunch of dudes went down there, dug caissons down into the floor of the bay, and then poured the pad into that. And those guys would get the bends, sometimes two, because of the pressure of how deep they had to go. You can look that up, Joe. I'm pretty sure some of those guys got the bends, and they would sink pylons into the floor down there.
At least 20 people died in the building of the Brooklyn
Men and women. Okay, no, women didn't do anything. Yeah, keep going.
Just that we'll pull it up. But 20 people died. I mean, to build a bridge, to lose 20 people building a bridge is crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's why they got the bends. It's compressed air down there.
They'd put them down there in a big cylinder or something while they dug. I mean,
oh my God.
It was work you couldn't get the youngsters to do today. I would say that. I would say nobody under 30 I know would volunteer to get down there and be one of those sand
my God,
hogs.
put that on the list of 10 worst jobs I've ever heard. That's awful.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Worst job, porn makeup artist.
Yep.
I've long said dermatologist. You know, people don't talk about that one enough, but you want to deal with other people's pustules? It's the old joke about at the end of, which is...
You don't, but women love it.
Yeah.
Listen,
you're right.
I could open a kiosk at the airport and charge women $17 a zit to pop.
Yeah.
I could charge women to pop. It'd be next to the Cinnabon and the shoe shine place. But I would go. As a matter of fact, it'll replace the shoe shine stand because that's a vestige, right? We don't need that.
No.
Everyone's wearing Skechers now and Vans, right? But women would pay to pop zits.
I think you're
You
right
could
there.
charge.
That does appeal to some percentage of women. You're absolutely right about that. It's like Otter at the end of Animal House when they say like it's supposed to be his winning what he went on to do thing when they freeze frame at the end and tell you what everybody.
Otter, are you saying, sorry?
Isn't it Otter?
Yeah, I didn't hear you say Otter.
I think Otter. It's
Otter at the end of Animal House.
goes on to be a Beverly Hills gynecologist,
Oh,
and you're
right.
like, oh, what a job! He wins
Right.
again. Like.
No.
Is that a job you would like? I know that's a glib thing that fellas say, like, gynecology is my future. Like, you sure? Have you seen the human population?
You only
Yeah.
That's what you want to deal with?
You want to see the sick ones, huh?
I do not. I am not interested.
It's better than Silmar gynecologist. I think they put Beverly Hills in front of stuff.
Makes
and they
it a
make
little
good.
better?
Yeah, makes it a little better. Higher end.
octogenarians. All right,
You're
good.
staring at Zsa Zsa Gabor Snatch all day.
Yeah.
That's your
That gets to be a
job.
good fun story.
Even
Yeah.
if it's sick.
That's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A hacker who faked his death to avoid child support sentenced to prison. After faking his death, prosecutors say he obtained a new identity and sold private information to international buyers. Oh, that's the guy right there.
Nobody can fake their own death anymore. They can't go, egg someone's house without being caught on a Ring doorbell.
Yeah.
There's no more of that. So faking your own death was a plot line about every fifth movie that came out in the 70s. A lot of faking of the own death,
But this guy went the extra mile. He went into he stole some credentials of a doctor from another state to gain access to Hawaii's death registry system and create and certify his own death certificate. Mm-hmm. Now, afterwards, he obtained a new identity and continued to sell stolen private information to international buyers, including individuals from Algeria, Russia, and Ukraine. So he got away with it for a good stretch and dodged paying $195,700 in child support debt and damages inflicted to the government and corporate computer systems.
But it also means you can't see your kids. I mean, you're doing child support, right?
Yeah, he must have had a hell of a baby mama, let me tell you. I don't know, he really went above and beyond to try to get out of this.
Wait, so you also would have 70s, 80s sitcoms. You would get bonked on the head, and not only would you get amnesia about who you are, you would be a much nicer version of yourself. Mm-hmm. That was one. Missing Stradivarius was a storyline in roughly the violin. The priceless Stradivarius was lost in the back of the cab, and somehow it involved the Brady Bunch.
Quicksand was in there somewhere.
Don't know why that
Always
was.
got hung up in quicksand.
I also think, Ace, that in a way, although maybe you can talk me out of it, this seems like it belongs on the Adam Carolla bucket list, like diving into a body of water with a knife betwixt your teeth. I always thought that was a great successfully changing your own identity, like Rutger Hauer midway through the movie you and I have argued about before, Nighthawks with Sly Stallone.
Yeah.
You didn't like it. I think you're wrong. But that is a fascinating plot point. That he's one guy, he's a terrorist, and then he gets caught. So then he has plastic surgery, and then he's Rutger Hauer, and then they can't find him anymore. But Sly Stallone is convinced, I can still find him if I can just look him in the eyes. So he's in New York City, and he just goes around New York City looking everybody in the eyes.
That takes several days. If anyone knows the populace in New York City. Yeah, that's going to take a minute.
Just goes into a nightclub and he's like, look, just leave me alone. I got to look everybody here in the eye. Like, this is going to take you a long time, Sly.
What's more unrealistic a scenario, that or Face Off, when Travolta
Yes.
switches to Cage's guy, gets himself thrown in prison so he can get some information off his brother, and his brother's
8
immediately suspicious that there's somebody else.
Oh, what medication is that, bro? Why? You cannot, as we've talked about. Listen, if you have a high wacky concept like, hey, the two stars are going to take their faces off and swap them, and that's going to be that, then everybody's going to think they're them. Okay, don't go see the movie. Don't come out of that movie and say, it was so unrealistic, they swapped faces. Well, you knew they were swapping faces before you went to see it. You don't get to complain about that. What Ace is talking about is where we park our cars in the same garage here. You can't have characters questioning the premise of the movie.
In the middle of the movie.
You can't be like, I don't know if you're a real... Why would you doubt that is your brother? On what earthly reason would in max security prison this might be John Travolta really? But he put my brother's face on.
I don't have an evil mastermind homicidal brother, but I do have a sister.
Okay.
And there's no way there was ever a Thanksgiving when Lauren showed up at my house holding a casserole dish, and I was like, not so fast. What was the name of the five and dime that we used to go to as a kid? Quigley's? Okay, but I'm watching you. Yeah, come in, but I'm going to keep an eye on you.
I got it, by the way.
Why would you question a person that looked and sounded exactly like your brother?
Pollux Troy. That's the brother
right.
of Castor Troy.
Castor Troy.
And of course, my favorite. Now, see, I'm sorry, I'm vain, and I have to say, the funniest part of all of Face Off, and there are many candidates there. Ace's description of a John Woo movie. That's the high watermark for Woo's filmography. At the very end, now, as you know, it starts with they're having surgery. Pretty risky, probably. Experimental to swap faces and all that, just to catch a bad guy. You do all that. And in the process of tracking down this horrible killer, you get shot and stabbed by him. You go through a lot. Then, and your wife, in the meantime, is making time with your arch nemesis, who she thinks is you. I mean, that nothing more awful than that. No greater violation. He goes through physical, emotional, and spiritual torment throughout the picture. He succeeds. Now he has to get the face swapped off because Castor Troy is dead. Final scene. She's sitting at home on the computer, and we see John Travolta's shadow walking on the porch, opening the front door. Oh, it's Travolta. You're back.
Yeah.
I thought you were getting out of the hospital next Wednesday. I should have been there to pick you up. I didn't come to pick you. He just had his face retransplanted on, and she couldn't pick him up at the hospital. I had some emails I had to get to.
Sure.
It's an outrageous scene. She just bedded down with the bad guy too.
Also, she's a rape victim, right?
Yes.
All right, hold on.
Then they bring Castor Troy's little boy. Travolta, that's the cherry on top. Hey, I brought Castor Troy's, he's now dead, and I brought his son, and he's like 7 years old, and now he doesn't have a family. I brought him here. What do you think? Can we raise him? What if she says no? Hasn't the little kid been through a lot lately? Now he has some lady who he doesn't even know saying, I don't want him, get him out of here. Like, all right, back to the pound, kid. That's terrible.
Next time you're here, I want to do this with you and make a note of it, Joe, because I sit and I obsess. But if I was there's certain movies where I'm positive that they came up with the name before they came up with the premise. And Face Off is one of them. Some just went Face Off, and they go, what's it about? I don't know. You just said it. Face Off. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Somebody just said that. And then they went, what is that? What is it? Well, I'll tell you what it's going to be. It's a horror movie about Christmas. But that's the title. And then we'll do the movie around the title. We're going to put together, next time you come here, I will show up with my top 10, and you show up with your top 10 of movies where they definitely came, sudden death, maybe one of them, where they definitely came up with the title. Forrest Gump, they didn't come up with the title first. They wrote the movie, and then they called it Forrest Gump. But there are a handful of movies where I was a stand-in on Judgment Night.
Right. Yeah.
that came up with Judgment Night. I clearly came up with that title before they wrote the premise underneath it. All right, Shek's
The Box.
hanging.
I bet that's about a box. That's a movie. The Box.
What
the
one is
Package. There's a movie called The Package, also about a package.
Jason Mayhem Miller, everyone.
Yeah.
We should go where to find you? Mayhem Miller, Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah.
We
I'm
should
on the
get some of your Manuka honey.
Oh, yeah, do that.
Is that Manuka honey taste sweet? Does it taste like regular honey?
Oh, yeah. It's like very delicious. I gotta
Very
tell you.
delicious.
Yes. It's
When
like
we go
next
round and
level.
round.
Bring
already.
in some next time. I want to taste that.
Ace is just going to throw us in this room, you and me, Mayhem.
All
He's
right.
going
I'm
to
gonna
lock
lock
the
the
door.
door.
Yep.
And you guys will watch us.
See
One
who
man.
leaves.
Yeah,
One man enter, one man
2
leaves.
minutes. That's right.